Hey, this is Dr. Michael Ray with Barbell Medicine. Today we're going to be talking about the biofeedback test for the knee rehab template. This test is important and it should be completed before every rehab training session. The test is meant to assess the loading tolerance of the area and ensure that you're having adequate recovery time between sessions. The biofeedback test can be completed one of two ways, either with a decline squat board or any implement that will elevate the heel above the toes, for example, a weight plate. Some instructions for the test. We recommend completing 5 repetitions at tempo, 3 seconds lowering down into the bottom position through the eccentric, 0-second pause at the bottom, and then 3 seconds standing up through the concentric phase. Some instructions for the biofeedback test. We want you to complete 5 repetitions at tempo. Tempo means that you are slowly lowering down into the bottom position of the squat through the eccentric, taking 3 seconds to get there, 0-second pause at the bottom, and then 3 seconds standing back up through the concentric phase. We want the range of motion standards to be at 90 degrees of hip and knee flexion, and then we are assessing your tolerance through the range of motion regarding symptoms. Caveats to this test: if the person is unable to complete the recommended range of motion at tempo and without a dramatic increase in baseline symptoms, then we recommend they rest 2 minutes and then redo the test again for 5 repetitions. If they're still unable to reach the full range of motion at tempo without a severe increase in baseline symptoms, then we recommend modifying the scheduled loading for that day to isometrics only, having a period of recovery, and then reassessing again with the test at a later date. So what do we mean by baseline symptoms? As we know, and we have discussed previously on Barbell Medicine, pain is not directly correlated to tissue status and or tissue damage. And oftentimes our perception of an area is not a great marker for the status of the tissue. With that said, we recommend that someone is not consistently increasing their symptoms into a severe state in which they can no longer tolerate the symptoms or they feel debilitated afterwards. Often when we begin loading the symptomatic area, we may notice a slight increase in symptoms, but as we continue through the range of motion and then loading, the area tends to feel better. We call this the warming up period. This is why we have 2 sets scheduled for each biofeedback test. If you complete the first set and you're having increase in symptoms, you're not able to do the full range of motion or at tempo, then rest 2 minutes and attempt again. The warming up period may set in and you're able to accomplish the goal of the biofeedback test and move forward with scheduled training for that day. We're now going to do a walkthrough on how to complete the biofeedback test. Okay, here we have Matt performing the single leg decline squat. He is doing this on the decline squat board, and he's doing this at tempo. So taking 3 seconds to lower down into the bottom position, which is at 90 degrees of hip and knee flexion, and then taking 3 seconds to stand back up. We just have a couple of different angles here demonstrating how to complete the movement. Also keep in mind, if you perform the biofeedback test for a single set of 5 repetitions and everything feels good, then you do not have to complete the second set. The second set is only there if you have a increase in symptoms, inability to go through the full range of motion that we are recommending, or an inability to complete the repetitions at tempo. And remember, you can also use a plate on the ground or another implement that elevates the heel above the toes if you don't have access to the decline squat board.